Hello, beloveds. Carlos Young here, and I want to talk about Simone Biles. Woo! What a fantastic young lady. What a fantastic athlete. You know her. You know her. Oh, man, she's the best to ever do it. She's the best gymnast to ever do it. She's got over 30 now, 30 awards, medals, and Olympic and worldwide competitions. She's got four different exercises named after her. In fact, she's so good, she's got one twisting, flipping exercise that the scores haven't even caught up with her. You know her. But do you know her backstory? Do you know that she was born of a single mother? And I don't think Mrs. Biles or her mother would think that I'm judging her mother when I say that. Her mother, um, she had some demons. She struggled with addiction, so much so that she had to give up Simone and her other siblings. And so then Miss Biles ends up here in Houston, where I am actually, not too far from me in North Houston. And her gym is actually in Spring, Texas, which is let's say a northern suburb of Houston. She began her gymnastics pursuits at 6 years old. And God bless grandparents. She began it because her grandparents just happened to take her to a jumping and flipping event, and one of the folks there was like, "Hey, I think you're onto something. This young lady should get into gymnastics," and she did, and she became a local talent. She became a state talent, national talent. All of those stories are there for all of us to read about. But did you know about what happened recently? Do you know what happened recently? From what I'm seeing on Facebook and Twitter and everything else, it seems like most of us know my audience tends to be Black people. So I want to ask you, when she quit, she is at the highest level of her chosen profession in gymnastics, and she dropped out of the Olympics. Were you one of the ones that were naysaying this young lady? Did you say things like, well, she needed to be taken down a peg, or she quit on her team? Did you did you take on some of these, quite frankly, white supremacist tropes? I know. Why? I know this makes some uncomfortable. Why do I say this is white supremacist tropes? Because you care more about her tumbling than you do about her heart, about her story. Do you know her story? I'm not talking about her story about how many flips and jumps and tumble sets she can do. About her story. Do you know that she was part of over 200 young ladies that were molested by doctors and coaches in the U.S. gymnastics? Let's hear about
The
it.
USA Gymnastics sex abuse scandal relates to the sexual abuse of female athletes, primarily minors at the time of the abuse, over 2 decades in the United States, starting in the late 1990s. More than 368 people alleged that they were sexually assaulted by gym owners, coaches, and staff working for the gymnastics program across the country. Particularly, longtime USA Gymnastics national team doctor Larry Nassar has been named in hundreds of lawsuits filed by athletes who said that Nassar engaged in sexual abuse for at least 14 years under the pretense of providing medical treatment. Since the scandal was first reported by the Indianapolis Star in September 2016, more than 265 women, including former USAG national team members Jessica Howard, Jamie Danster, Morgan White, Jeanette Antolin, Michaela Maroney, Allie Raceman, Maggie Nichols, Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, Jordan Weber, Sabrina Vega, Ashton Locklear, Kyla Ross, Madison Kokian, Amanda Jeter, Tasha Schweikert, Maddie Lawson, Bailey Key, Kennedy Baker, Elisa Ballman, and Taryn Humphrey have accused Nasser of sexually assaulting them. Most of you know me as a happy, giggly, and energetic girl, but lately I felt a bit broken, and the more I try to shut off the voice in my head, the louder it screams. I am not afraid to tell my story anymore.
Now it's starting to come a little bit more into focus.
I too am one of the many survivors that was sexually abused by Larry Nasser. Please believe me when I say it was a lot harder to first speak those words out loud than it is now to put them on paper. There are many reasons that I have been reluctant to share my story, but I know now it is not my fault. It is not normal to receive any type of treatment from a trusted team physician and refer to it horrifyingly as the special treatment. This behavior is completely unacceptable, disgusting, and abusive, especially coming from someone whom I was told to trust. For too long, I've asked myself, was I too naive? Was it my fault? I now know the answer to those questions. No, no, it was not my fault. No, I will not and should not carry the guilt that belongs to Larry Nasser, USAG, and others. It is impossibly difficult to relive these experiences, and it breaks my heart even more to think that as I work towards my dream of competing in Tokyo 2020, I will have to continually return to the same training facility where I was abused. After hearing the brave stories of my friends and other survivors, I know that this horrific experience does not define me. I am much more than this. I am unique, smart, talented, motivated, and passionate. I have promised myself that my story will be much greater than this, and I promise all of you that I will never give up. I will compete with all of my heart and soul every time I step into the gym. I love this sport too much and have never been a quitter. I won't let one man and the others that enabled him to steal my love and joy. We need to know why this was able to take place for so long and to so many of us. We need to make sure something like this never happens again. As I continue to work through the pain, I kindly ask everyone to respect my privacy. This is a process and one that I need more time to work through. Love, Simone Biles.
Did you know that besides that she suffers from ADHD? Did you know that about her? Let's hear it.
In September 2016, Biles opened up about having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, after her medical records were leaked online, revealing that she had been taking Ritalin used to treat the condition during the Olympics. Having been diagnosed as a child, she had previously disclosed her condition to the World Anti-Doping Agency and obtained a medical exemption, allowing her to take the medication during competitions. In Biles' statement, she said that ADHD is nothing to be ashamed of and nothing that I'm afraid to let people know.
Now is her story starting to get a little bit more in focus for you? Okay, I got a couple questions for you then. Why didn't you know? I'm talking black folks. Hello? Talking about us. Why didn't you know? We find ourselves at some horrendous times. Her story is most of our story. We should identify with her on so many levels. Born of a single mom, we sit here with disgusting single motherhood rates as a black community. And look, I know about the vestiges of Jim Crow, of enslavement, of redlining. I know it all. I teach on it. In fact, I'll leave a video about it. This is not from a standpoint of not knowing what systematic racism and white supremacy is. This is from a standpoint of knowing, okay, if you do realize and if you yourself have experienced some of these hardships, why don't you identify with her? Why do we have this sort of conditional attachment to our sports stars, entertainers, and dare I say, even our fame and even our family? Oh yeah, it's conditional, and it ain't love. I can't even call it conditional love. It's just some kind of vulturism, like we attach to those who are in entertainment or those who can dribble a basketball, or in this case, someone who can do tumble sets. We attach to them. Talking about black folks, y'all. We attach to them as long as they're entertaining us. But it's conditional. As soon as they have to quit, as soon as they can't perform at the level that we want them to perform to, we throw them away. Or even while they're performing, we talk about silly things like their hair. Talking about us. Why is this us behaving like white supremacy? Because we care more about what that person can do for us than we care about the person. It is as if there's some sort of entertainment mule, entertainment slave. So what are we going to do about it? What are some actions that we can take? Because these numbers, like I said before, are terrible. Before we get to the actions, let's talk about one more thing. When you look at the molestation data, in my opinion, it's even more than the 40 to 50% of young black girls that have been improperly touched. In my experience, if I look at the black women that I've dated, and I've only exclusively dated black women, and if I look at my black, we call them friend girls, y'all, those that we're not romantically associated with there's a sisterly bond, brotherly bond. If I look at my own test case in my lifetime, that number is more around 7 or 8 and 10 that have been improperly touched. So this would mean to me that if these are the true numbers, take 40%, take 70%, whatever, this means that many of us, myself included, many of us have been improperly touched. So why can't we empathize with those who have been abused, who have been sexually assaulted, like Miss Simone Biles? What can we do? There's a couple actions that we can take. There's a couple actions that I'm taking. One is we can get the word out. We can stop speaking negatively about Miss Simone Biles and others in the entertainment sphere, others that are in our family that have quit or have fallen. We can stop putting our mouth on them, y'all. And when I say that, I'm talking about on that Facebook and that Twitter crap too. And then we can utilize the mediums that we have You guys got a Facebook account. Let's talk positivity. Are you a part of some Greek letter organization? Why don't you influence them to make a difference in the lives of these young boys and girls who are part of these single parent households? I know I will. In fact, here's an impassioned plea right here to some of the organizations that I'm a part of. Oh yeah, I don't just do this on YouTube, y'all. I'm not just a YouTube head. I I'm doing the work. We are doing the work. And many of you are doing the work too. All I'm saying is there's some that aren't. So what can you do? By way of summary, you can get the word out. You can influence the organizations that you are a part of. And then of course, if there's no organizations that come to mind, then of course you can join. Hey, help us get the word out here at Young, Wealthy, and Black Academy. Won't you do that? Won't you do that so that folks like Simone Biles and others, they don't have to rise to the top of their professions and just twist out. It's interesting that Simone said that she had the twisties. This twisties is a something that happens in these type of athletes, gymnasts and skaters, where they can't orient themselves. She literally can't orient herself. But I also think this is telling of many of our young folks, many of us. Do we have the twisties? Do we need to reorient ourselves? I believe we do, and I believe we can. So keep watching. I'm going to leave some videos at the end of this that kind of tie in with what we're talking about, and we're just going to get better and better and better together, beloveds. Thank you for listening. God bless you.